Hey everyone, back for another Neon Genesis Evangelion review. This time we're going into episode 24. I told you we're going to get rid of this real quick. Episode 24 opens, it's going to feature the last angel. It opens up with a scene of Asuka finding out that she is going to be an angel pilot, and she runs to go tell her mom, and she sees, much like we saw in episode 22, she sees the doll hanging. What this specifies is that basically her mom hung herself and she hung herself with the doll. So that's how the flashback starts. We actually find out that Asuka is comatose somewhere. Somehow she got out of Nerve's grip and she's been gone for 6 whole days. And they finally find her and take her back in. This episode is introducing the 5th child, and he's going to be the one who's going to be taking over Unit 2, i.e. he's going to be taking over, the person's going to be taking over Asuka's spot. More or less, that's what this part of the episode is. We also find out that Gendo is punishing Ritsuko. He has her locked up because of her destroying all the spare rays from the last episode, episode 23. So Gendo asks her why she did it, and she doesn't really give a response. All she does is, complain that she's angry and that she's, doesn't enjoy anything anymore, including Gendo and the things that they do outside of Nerve. But that's about it. And then there is a little bit of thing with Hugo explaining to Masato about the 5th child and how there's no information and that no one has access to everything except for no one has access to any of his information, and he's a lot like Ray in that there is no real information or background text about who he is. And the 5th child is none other than Kaji Nagisa. There's Kaworu. Kaworu Nagisa is his name. Depending on, I'm going with the original dub's version of how you pronunciate his name. I know some people pronounce it Kaworu, but that's it. And we have a relationship, or actually Kaworu finally meets up with Shinji, and I've heard a lot of people pronounce it as homoerotic or something like that. I can understand people getting that vibe, but in all honesty, it's just 2 kids, one who is very awkwardly shy and someone else who is very charismatic, and someone who doesn't hide his emotions, reaching out to this person. And it's kind of a cute little bond that they have together. I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. It also helps play on Shinji's awkwardness towards people, and Kaworu notices it and says it explicitly several times to Shinji. So they get together, they start talking, and that's pretty much it for the first half of this episode. The reason I didn't say the title for the first half of this episode before is because literally the Japanese title and the English title happened back to back right in the middle of the episode. The first part of this episode was called The Final Messenger. So that was the title for the first half, for the Japanese half. The English title comes up literally right after, like I said, and it's an interesting one because, in case you didn't notice, a lot of these titles have English influences. This one happens to be about a famous song by Bob Dylan, or if you're a little bit my age, you'll probably know it more by Guns N' Roses version. But the English title is called The Beginning and the End, or Knocking on Heaven's Door. So this episode or this half of the episode has a lot of talk about Seele. Seele is speaking within themselves, talking about they don't trust Gendo anymore, they don't know what he's planning, and they want to go about their own path. This becomes a little bit more confusing, especially when we get to the last 2 episodes, because we really don't know who wants to do what. There's also a scene where Kaworu is speaking with with Seele, where he's standing on what looks to be like an angel. And if you see the end of Evangelion Death and Rebirth, it definitely looks like the unit production series, but he's standing on top of them in the middle of the ocean speaking to Seele. And they're telling him, oh, we can't let Gendo accomplish what he wants to do. So it's kind of weird, because we presume that Seele knows who Kaworu is, because they sent him to Nerve. But we don't know what they want and what the difference is between what they want and what Gendo wants. So it's kind of interesting. We also see a scene where Gendo is speaking with Unit 1. And what we learned from this conversation is that the package that Kaji had brought in Gendo way back in the beginning of the series, I believe it was in the first episode, Asuka. I think that was episode 5 or 6. Which was the Atom embryo. We see that Gendo has infused it into his hand, and there's a quick shot of that, or there's a quick shot of his hand with like an eyeball growing out of it. And we also see Rei's first interaction with Kaworu, and Kaworu is very forthright, saying, you know, me and you are made of the same thing. And then Rei just looks at him and goes, you know, identify yourself. Who are you? There's more of the bromance between Kaworu, I keep forgetting, it's mixing their names up. Kaworu with Shinji, which makes what happens at the end of this episode all the more heart-wrenching, I want to say, and more dramatic. So there's that. We also have a scene where once again Hugo is informing Misato that he was able to find some information about Kaworu, and it's from Risco. So Misato has a conversation with Risco. Risco confirms what we're about to find out in a second, and that Kaworu is the 17th angel. He commandeers Unit 2 and goes down to go to Central Dogma to meet the Atom. Shinji's told, and this is, you can tell who's in charge of missions, because if you remember when Shinji had to fight the 3rd unit and it told you he was in it, Gendo kept it from him, who he was fighting. Misato straight up tells him, Kaji's down there, fight him. There's an extended fight sequence between Unit 1 and Unit 2. All the while it's happening, they're floating down into Terminal Dogma, and Kaworu's just speaking. He's informing, I guess, Shinji about what he's doing, why he's doing it. He explains to him about the AT field. There's a lot of conversation about Atom, Lilith, the Lilin, which is the humans. And in a very weird moment, just as they enter Terminal Dogma, the Nerve people find out that there's another AT field down there. This is where it's kind of hard to figure out what's going on, because during the fight scene in Terminal Dogma, Rei is above everyone, not flying, but she's on the wall up above. Kaworu sees her. Shinji's too busy fighting Unit 2, so he doesn't notice her. And right when you think Kaworu and Atom are going to interact, Kaworu stops, looks at the Atom, and he calls it Lilith for some reason. And then he turns around and lets Shinji grab him. All of this is playing while Beethoven's 15th Symphony is going on in the background. Once again, lovely matching of music the weight, and it gives it more heft of what's going on. And so Shinji grabs him in for a scene. Depending on who you are, it's this one. I've heard people dislike it and say it's a minute of my time wasted. I don't think that. I tend to look at it at a different angle. I tend to look at it as this is Shinji deciding the fate of someone, another human being, first of all, because Shinji's not that type of person. He's also looking at it, this is the only person who loved him, who said it to him. And he's forced with the task of killing him. Even though he didn't care he was an angel, Shinji never cared who's an angel. If you meant something to him, you meant something to him. So he has to wrestle with that fact. And I like the fact that that scene is held. It's for tension purpose. It's not just something, oh, we got lazy and we don't want to animate it. It especially with the music going on in the background, it always felt like he's just deciding what he's going to do. That's why I really like this ending a lot. I just like that one still a lot, just because it is Shinji deciding, what do I do? And then, of course, the episode ends with Shinji saying he shouldn't have done what he did. Misato tried to comfort him. And then that's pretty much it. That's the end of episode 24. And actually, this is probably more or less the end of all the angels. And now we get to the last two episodes. Once again, this is the director's edition. The preview for the next episode is very different from the preview in the original cut. In the director's edition, it has more, it's less textualized, it's more like footage from the actual episode. Also, after they say, you know, see you in the next episode, there's a continuation after it showing pencil drawings of scenes that won't be happening in this series at all. These are actually pencil drawings of scenes that will be happening in the end of Evangelion and Death. Or actually Rebirth. Death and Rebirth. I'm kind of interested as why they threw it in the director's cut, because showing you scenes that aren't in the series kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what they chose. So that's it for now. Next episode is it's just going to be a lot of theories, because there's not going to be, it's just going to be a lot of theories. So if you've seen the series before, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'll try to do what I can to verbalize it with you. So if you like this video, like, describe. If there's anything you think I missed about talking about it, throw it in the comment section below. Until then, I'll see you with the next episode. Later.